Fred Warner, Bosa. Like, I know there's some financial restrictions, but if they can upgrade, they're going to be all in on that. And I think that because of that mistake, he is going to forever overcorrect moving forward.
I don't know if that's the best thing in the world. Let's go to RJ at Fairfield. RJ, is he still on the line? RJ, what's up, man?
Hey, shout out Hilton chocolate chip cookies, man. They hit.
They do hit different. They do hit.
Yep. Hey, so, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Debo get us to the Super Bowl that year? Because it was Jimmy's play from the whole playoffs. He wasn't balling, and Kyle Shanahan knew that, and he still rolled with them after that year. So that's all I got to say. And real quick, three hot takes on training camp. I'm looking at the D-line, the D-line, the few additions we picked up, the Collins, and then I heard, and I got a hot take, Mordecai, the undrafted free agent, will be the starting QB2. Mordecai, I heard, rumor has it, he's been balling out over Dobbs and Brandon Allen. And then I'm also looking at, who is that, the backup? We need a backup tight end, guys. We haven't had a backup tight end.
Logan Thomas. You like Logan Thomas from Washington?
What? I heard I liked him in Washington, but Logan Thomas is a big name, but he hurt a lot, though, you know?
Yeah.
I heard the younger guys are stepping up. So I listen to Krug and I listen to Lombardi on those things. And another the running back, look, Isaac Garendo, look out for him. Bonta, I heard he's a little speedster. So he looked good out there. So just want to give you all those takes. And Shanahan, your 3rd and 5 play calling in the Super Bowl was unacceptable. You should have ran the ball. I don't know why you would throw fade. I am good with Kyle Shanahan running the ball on 3rd and 5 and then maybe, converting it to 4th and 2, whatever. But your Kyle Shanahan, your play calling is horrible in the 4th quarter. I appreciate it, guys. Go eat those cookies, man.
Isaac Garendo, Louisville, 4th string right now on the depth chart. He brought up, we got Logan Thomas, we got Braden Willis, who I like at the H-back. I want to see what he looks like physically. Number 9 for the 49ers. He got some Super Bowl run once George Kittle got hurt that Super Bowl out in Las Vegas this past February. Cameron Latu, who did not impress anybody in training camp. He dropped every single pass. It felt like he was awful. He was on IR, got hurt. But Cameron Latu, he may get cut if he doesn't step up his game to the point where they did bring in Logan Thomas because of the ineptitude of Cameron Latu with the backup tight end spot. Now, I brought up Tanner Mordecai. Look, my Brock Purdy takes, I didn't think Brock Purdy could do what Brock Purdy's doing right now. I didn't see it.
I think the whole wrong. NFL agreed with you at the time.
Yes. But Tanner Mordecai, by way of SMU, he played college football at 3 different schools, Oklahoma, SMU, and the Wisconsin Badgers. He's an undrafted free agent, 6'2", 218, out of Waco, Texas. I don't know if he's looked good yet. I want to see it in training camp. I want to see it in the preseason. I'll hold out judgment on Tanner Mordecai, but I do think the backup quarterback position is up for grabs here. Who's going to back up Brock Purdy? I don't think it's science him to deliver that Brendan Allen's going to be your backup at number 2 to start the season. I don't know if Josh Dobbs is going to be that guy.
A couple years ago, they gave Sudfeld guaranteed money and then cut him before the season started. Yeah. So, to your point, I think it has to play itself out.
It has to play itself out. Now, I want to hear from Shanahan on the offensive line. This was a great take. We don't talk a lot of offensive line play unless we get Baldy on here, Shasky. But a lot of fans have said, well, how come you haven't spent draft capital on offensive linemen? How come you haven't spent big on offensive line? We need an offensive line. Well, the 49ers, they were pretty high up when it came to giving up sacks last season. They didn't give up a lot of sacks. They didn't give up a lot of sacks at all. Brock Purdy was sacked only 25 times last season, so I think that's pretty good for an offensive line. But here's Kyle Shanahan on the philosophy regarding offensive linemen. Go ahead and roll us, Spinone.
We don't have a philosophy to avoid a lineman. We just don't have a philosophy that says we're always going to build inside out because you got to establish that for the run game. And look at our run game everywhere. Look at our run game in Washington. I mean, we drafted Trent Williams. We had the 4th pick in the draft, and we thought he was worth it. We took him. Our left guard was cut from Denver. Our center was a practice squad player. Our right guard was a free agent that we got from Baltimore, and our right tackle we got off the street. And then our running back was a 6th-round pick. We rushed for more yards than the Hogs ever did, or John Riggins, and all those big-time Hall of Fame people. And I hear you. I would love all those people. We want O-linemen, don't get me wrong. But you don't just get to pick whoever you want. And that's why I always go back to, and we have been favored in every game for 2 years in a row. Our roster's damn good. I wish also it looked like we'd invested all the same in O-line. And then I feel like people wanted to ask that question. But I bet we wouldn't be favored in 20 or 34 straight games in a row.
That's Shanahan on his philosophy with the offensive lineman. What'd you take away from that? Because he said, I hear all the rumors, I hear all the narratives, which tells me that he does have somebody looking on Twitter and X. He does have somebody listening to sports talk radio. He does know what's going on in these streets, as the kids would say. He's tapped in. He said, yeah, there's this narrative that I don't invest in offensive line. It's not true, but this is how we do things. Well, then he takes subtle shot into Washington and said, hey, we rushed more yards than their hogs. John Riggins, what do you want from me?
Well, look, it's about how you invest into your team, right? Everyone has the same money, the same draft capital, and so he's taking a guy number 10 overall at right tackle.
Mike McGlinchey.
He wasn't that good.
No, he wasn't.
They've swung a trade for Trent Williams. They had inherited Joe Staley. They had a guy in Lakin Tomlinson, and then they let him walk.
Yep.
They drafted Aaron Banks in the second round. They've worked their offensive line. Now, I would say this. Every team in the league wants to have 5 studs at offensive line, and it's just impossible in this day and age. But that being said, you could make an argument that protecting the quarterback has kind of done them in on a couple of certain moments in whether it's the Super Bowl this year, whether it's the NFC Championship game the year before, and then we can get into philosophy and play calling, and there's a variety of things that come up with it. Overall, we're always worried about the offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, nobody talks about the position, but it's kind of like referees, right? If we're never mentioning the offensive line, that means they had a good day at the office. Now, you mentioned those critical situations. They got plays blown up by all-time Hall of Fame players.
Yeah.
Chris Jones on line 1.
Aaron Donald.
Philadelphia with Fletcher Cox and that deep defensive line they had a couple years ago.
Hassan Reddick.
Aaron Donald. Hassan Reddick, who's going to be with the New York, maybe he's with the New York Jets.
He's not reporting.
For a new deal. But when I look at the numbers here, Sam Howell, who was in Washington last season, got sacked 65 times. Bryce Young got sacked 62 times. Tops in the league. We think about Zach Wilson and Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. They each got sacked 46, 45, 44 times. Baker Mayfield, he got sacked 40 times. Dak Prescott sacked 39 times. Even Lamar Jackson, as he's fleet of foot, and he's so mobile, and he looked like Michael Jordan on grass on Christmas Day here at Levi Stadium. He got sacked 37 times. Now, the Niners don't pass the ball as much as those other teams. They've been in the bottom 5 in pass attempts the last 3 years. But even with that said, Brock Purdy had a generational season throwing the football. Brock Purdy got sacked 28 times last year. So that has to do with some of his footwork, his mobility, but getting the ball out and getting the ball out on time. This offensive line hasn't necessarily hurt the 49ers with the exception of those critical situations. Now, those are generational players. That's what they do. They wreck the game. I wish Nick Bosa wrecked the game like that in the Super Bowl, but I think he's due for a bounce back. He had a good Super Bowl 54. He's had some great games. I'm not trying to dog Nick Bosa here. But in critical situations, sure. You got some things blown up, but for the most part, this offensive line has been really good.
It's been really good.
I mean, you don't have a running back run for the yardage he runs for. You don't have the yards and 1,000 all-purpose yards players. 4 players who goes for over 1,000 yards in all scrimmage yards. Come on, you don't do that with the poorest offensive line.
No, I agree with you. And then also you have a running back who's willing to block. You have a fullback who's a great blocker. And you have a tight end who's willing to block. So it's not just the offensive line. Okay, all of that being said, I would say to you, I want to know, and I know Trent Williams skews this number, when it comes to finances and draft capital on how much you've invested in the offensive line, where are they at in correlation to league average?
Yeah, well, Trent Williams gets all the money.
Absolutely, as he should.
The rest of these guys don't get paid. They get peanuts.
But Aaron Banks is going to be up for a contract.
Going to be up. How much are you going to pay a guard?
Well, that's...
Do they move off a guard?
That's a great question.
Is Trent Williams going to be back next season?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
They filled Colton McKivitz after McGlinchey left, and I didn't notice that big of a drop-off.
It wasn't that big of a drop-off at all. Colton McKivitz went back.
What was he, a 6th, 7th round pick?
Yeah, you clean it up. I mean, I watched him win a game at the L.A. Memorial Coliseum with 2 rookie tackles with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Justin School?
It wasn't. Who was it? Was it Colton McKivitz on the other side?
It might have been
was
School.
Daniel Brunskill.
Brunskill.
But it was 2 rookie tackles.
Yeah.
They had a horrific first possession, and they cleaned things up and won the football game going away 28-7.
Yeah.
So we've seen it without McGlinchey. We've seen it without Staley. Now there's some hairy moments. The quarterback's got to make some plays.
Yeah.
That's today's NFL. I mean, for crying out loud, you got T.J. Watt, Michael Parsons. This guy's 6'5", 240, running 4.3 40s, 4.4 40s. Pass rush. I've never seen pass rushers be better. There's so many pass rushers in the league right now coming off that edge with speed, and they're so athletic that you're going to need a quarterback to make some movement, and that's what makes Brock Purdy special, is that he can extend the play. And that's the difference between him and Jimmy Garoppolo, where his ability to extend the play, continue to look downfield, and make plays either with his legs or arm. Jimmy, it was like, if the play goes awry, the play breaks down, 1, 2, 3, it's screwed.
You're done. Yeah, I mean, his pocket presence was horrible. The other thing, though, is that I would say in these critical situations where they're, where the Niners offensive line has given up to these elite players, a little bit of movement of the pocket in certain situations isn't the worst thing. Do I like rolling out to the small side of the field and only having 1 or 2 targets?
Yeah.
I don't love that. But there is a time and a place to utilize Purdy's legs. And as we talk about like the next step for Purdy and whatnot, I mean, he's great on the impromptu stuff.
Right.
I would like to see them slide him around a little and just be more of a moving target against these elite defenses that are going to light you up in the pocket.
Yep. Now, we got to